So today we're going to do most of the constructions today. So I'm going to skip a lot of stuff that's on here. So for 3-6, let's skip the front. Most of that's review. I want to concentrate more on your constructions. So this particular diagram in problem 1 is showing you how to do the construction. And we're going to do ours. Probably be better if you didn't do it on graph paper, but I am going to go ahead and do mine on graph paper. Only because that way I can repeat what we've just done. It's going to give you, yeah, you can do yours on graph paper, but let it be known that when you take a test from me, you won't have any grid lines when you do your parallel lines, and so you have to know how to do construction correctly. So we're going to do construction of a parallel line from a point that is not on the parallel line. So you're going to start off with drawing a line, and you could make the line crooked if you wanted to. I'm not going to. So here's my line, and then I'm going to choose a point not on the line. Oh, I'm going to put my point over here and call it A as an apple. Is that fuzzy or is that clear? Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to create an angle off of this line that you already have. So you're just going to create any angle, and it doesn't matter what kind of angle you create. So I'm going to put a point right here and call it B. And I mean, you could connect these if you wanted to, it doesn't matter. We could make a transversal of some sort if you like, so we could connect these. But what I've done is I've created an angle right here at point B. And I want to create this same exact angle here at point A. So if I create the same exact angle here and here, won't I have corresponding angles congruent? And if corresponding angles are congruent, what do you have? Parallel lines. And so that's what we're going to do. So let's go back and rethink, how do we construct a congruent angle? So I'm going to take my vertex B, and I'm going to create an arc that goes from here to here. Doesn't matter what measurement that arc is, and we're going to create the same arc over here. So from point B, I'm going to take any measurement. I'll take this one. Making sure that you remember that same measurement. And I'm going to take my compass and put the brad on point A. And I'm going to create, and it's a little harder to use in the white part, so I hold down on that orange really well. And then create an arc from A. That's that same distance, or that same measurement. Are we all okay there? Then I need to know how wide this opening is here. So I'm going to put a point on my line here and a point right here where that arc intersected both sides of that angle. Because I want to see that point through my compass. And I need to measure the distance from here to here, so I can create a distance. See how I have a point already on this side of this angle? I'm going to create that same distance there. So I'm going to use a different color, how about green? So I'm going to measure on my compass the distance from both of those purple points. Oh, of course I choose a distance that's just on my line. So my distance is from here to here. So I'm going to measure that with my pen. I just found whichever hole matches up properly. So move your compass until you get a hole that matches up properly. Well, that hole's too long. So this hole is just right. So I'm going to keep that measurement. I'm going to go up to here, and I'm going to create an arc on this blue arc here that will measure that mouth opening, or that distance, that width of that angle. hold my brad down, and I'm going to create. Brush here. This is getting stuck on my notebook. Getting hooked up on here. But hopefully we should be the same distance. Let me just double check. Close enough to definitely. Oh wait, have I marked X marks the spot? No. So let's try it here. Let me get mine. Okay. How do I know that's not working? That's the correct distance. That is so odd. Parallel line should be on through there. Anybody else know? Use graph paper. Because my mouth opening is from here to here. And theoretically, that should do it. Let's see if my lights are better. Draw a line. And any point not on that line, so I'm just going to draw one anywhere, it doesn't matter where. And call it A. And you can put any point along here, it shouldn't matter where. I'm going to call this point B. And then it creates an angle through that line. And then we should be able to create exactly that same angle right there. So let's try this one more time. Or I could do this angle. Let's try with a small angle. There's my arc. We'll create the same arc from point A. And then we need to measure the mouth opening of that arc. So the arc on angle B intersects the sides here and here. So measure that with the compass. Oh, I know what I did wrong. So I need to know how much tissue I have. I need to measure from here to there. Alright, so on my compass I have a measurement from my brad to here. That measures the mouth opening. Sorry, that measures the mouth opening of that arc, right? So we're going to do the same thing over here. And measure that mouth opening. That looks much better. I'm not sure why this one is different, but we're going to go with it. And then I can create a point where X marks the spot, and it should create parallel lines. How close did we get? I'm off a smidgy. So again, all we did was draw a line. We drew a point off of that line. And I happened to make a transversal through those points. I drew my point anywhere just so that it wasn't on that original line. And that transversal created an angle. The second time I chose to go with my acute angle, for whatever reason, my obtuse angle wasn't working on the other side. Then this arc that we created, doesn't matter what measurement, create that same arc in both places. You've got to measure where that arc on the original angle intersects both sides of that original angle, because you have both sides of that angle. And then on this one, we only had this side right here where the new angle intersected that transversal, so I knew that it was going to intersect there. So I have to take this measurement here and make sure it's the same measurement over here. And so we measured that with our compass, created another arc right here, and the two arcs should intersect where the parallel lines go. So that's what we're looking to do. You're going to have to do that on a couple of places. If you go back to your notes, look at problem 2. We're going to construct a special quadrilateral. And it says draw a segment, label its length M, and we're not going to use this segment here because it's way too small. It's much easier to have a larger segment. Construct a quadrilateral ABCD with line AB being parallel to line CD so that AB is equal to M and CD is twice M. So we're going to start with AB. And again, as I said, we're going to start with something longer than that. That's a little small. So I'm going to make it easy on myself, and I'm going to construct a 1 inch segment so we can measure it when we're done. So this is my A, this is my B, and this is our M. And we want AB to be parallel to CD. So we have to essentially do the same thing that we just did, right? I'm going to create a point that's above AB, but not obviously on AB. And it doesn't matter where you put that point. So I don't know, let's put it here. I'm going to call that point we'll call it D. And I'm going to create create a transversal. I guess I kind of did it perpendicular. Maybe I don't want to do it perpendicular. It really doesn't matter, but I'm going to do perpendicular lines in a minute. So let me put it out here. I'll call that point B. So then I'm going to create a transversal. I'm going to make mine long, but I'm going to make it kind of light-ish. Create a transversal through point D and point B. So I have this angle right here that I want to recreate up here. So let's create an arc from angle B. Doesn't matter how big the arc is, so I'm just going to pick any measurement on my compass and I'm going to create that arc. I'm going to do the same thing at point B. So the same arc at point B. My brad at B. So what's happened is my original arc here intersects the angle in two different places. So I need to measure that distance from here to here. And then this second arc here intersects up here. So I'm going to take a pink line and I'm going to measure from my brad to this point down here with my compass. Find a point that intersects it. So I found a point from my brad to the other point on the other side of the angle. So then take your brad and put it on the point where your blue arc or my blue arc intersected the angle. Pull down your compass and you create another arc that should give you X marks the spot. So the two arcs intersect right there. So I'm going to create a line going through D and where X marks the spot. Don't worry about how long the line is right now. We're just going to create a line through there. Do they visually appear parallel? They should. Now we have to create CD. So we have to create a distance that C is away from D that's twice as much as AB is. So we have to measure AB with our compass and then put an arc on CD twice that length. So it's our last step. And so I'm going to use red. I'm going to use black. So I'm going to measure AB. And then find a hole that matches up with A. So I found one right there. So I've got my distance from A to B. I'm going to take my brad and put it on D, keeping my pen in the hole. I'm going to hold my finger on my brad and just make an arc right there. So I made an arc on that new line. That work? And so then I have one distance. I have one distance from here to here that represents AB's distance. I need a second one. So from this point right here, I'm going to create another distance the same length. So I'm going to put my brad on the arc I just made, and I'm going to make another arc. If your line was not long enough, don't worry, just extend that line. See, my line's not long enough. So I'm just going to go back and extend that pink line. So now this represents point C. Then all I have to do is connect C to A. And we have constructed a quadrilateral with two parallel lines. Here's our parallel lines. And CD is twice the length of AB. And we're going to measure that because remember what was AB? What was the distance? An inch. So this should be about 2 inches. Crossing my fingers. Isn't it about 2 inches? Yep. So you'll have to do that. Just using some previous construction knowledge along with our parallel line knowledge. Okay, so then turn page. Then let's recall our perpendicular, how we make a perpendicular line. So I'm not going to make you write all the steps because you have them in other notes. But essentially if you have a line and you want to create a line perpendicular to it, this is what they did. They created this line EF. Well, really, they had this line and they put F there. They took their compass and they made an equal distance arc here and here, so they were equal distances away from F. And then from each of these points, they took their compass and they opened it up more than halfway. They laid the brad here, and here's my compass, open halfway, and they made an arc here and the same distance arc over here. X marks the spot, goes through F and G, and those should be perpendicular. So we've done that before. Well, we did that before when we bisected a line and it was a perpendicular bisector. Remember that? You've essentially just created a perpendicular bisector there. So look on this back page here. They want you to draw lines CX and a point Z not on CX. Construct ZB so that ZB is perpendicular to CX. So we don't have C or X on here, but they're going to end up on this line. And ZB, B is probably going to end up somewhere down here, so that this line that goes through ZB should be perpendicular. So the first thing they want you to do is open your compass to a size equal to or greater than the distance from Z to line L. What do you think? From Z to line L, you want it to be equal to or greater than that distance? Yeah, it has to be greater than, because if it's equal to, you're not going to be able to create an arc, right? So circle greater than. So we're going to have to create, this is my distance from Z to the line. I'm going to create some arc that's greater than this, but hold that thought. So then 19 says, with a compass tip, that's our brad, on point Z, you are to draw an arc that intersects line L at, and it'll be 2 points. At 2 points. So let's go ahead and do that. So from here, so my brad has point Z right in the middle. Okay? Create something that's going to create an arc that swings and hits this line in 2 spots. So I'm going to choose this marker here. So that when I swing, I'll move, when I swing my compass, it intersects line L in 2 places. You are to label your points C and what? X, because Z is not on the line, right? So C and X. So this is C and this is X. Then I want you to place the compass on either point C or point Z and make an arc below line L. Which one do you think that might be? Didn't we already place our compass on Z and make an arc below line L? Okay, so it can't be Z, right? So it needs to be C. So essentially, I'm going to kind of ignore what the directions are. They're kind of weird. Now that I have 2 points, aren't these 2 points equal distance from some point here in the center? I just don't know where that center point is. And so here's what they really want you to do. So we're going to take and put our compass at point C. And we're going to create a distance that's just a little bit more than halfway from C to Z, if Z were down here somewhere. And so I don't know, I'm going to choose this point here. Just a little bit more than halfway. Don't lose that measurement. So holding your finger on the brad at C, I'm going to just create an arc that's down below here. And then from point X, I'm going to do the same arc measurement, but in the other direction. So put your brad on X. And I made that same measurement. Doesn't X mark the spot? Right there. And so they want you to have point B on the same line as Z. So we're going to call this point B. And then I can connect Z to B. And I just created a line that was perpendicular to line CX from a point not on the line. So it's kind of the reverse of what you've done in the past. In the past, you had a point here, and you created a line that was perpendicular at the point that was on the line. This time we did it to a point that was not on the line. So it's a little different. All right, so practice that. There are videos on my website for these constructions. So you can visit those. They're like little 5-minute videos if you need extra help on that.